Before we get started, let's see here. On the call we have from the STS, we got a good group with us today. We've got myself and Carol Crone. We've got Addie Dolan, Emily Conrad, and from our core group, we have Ruth and Katie joining us today. And from our IQVIA team, we've got Joe, Melanie, Steve, and Jean. So thanks everybody for joining me on the call today. For the agenda today, just some quick STS updates, not a lot of new information from our last call. And I'll turn things over to Ruth, not our CHSD consultant. I'll change that to our GTSD consultant. Sorry about that, Ruth. We'll turn things over to Ruth for a quick FAQ update, and then IQVIA will provide our updates. They've got some quite a bit of information to share regarding the upcoming release, and then we'll finish things off with our user feedback. So if you have any questions, please be sure to submit those via the Q&A. If you need to ask a question, if you need to clarify anything, I think we do have the raise hand function enabled, so just raise your hand, we'll unmute you, and just make sure that your microphone is enabled. So again, like I said, not a lot of new updates from my perspective. The training manual for February has been posted. If you do go out there, Ruth did let me know that I did make an oopsie. So the FAQ summary is over at marketing to get reposted. It looks like I copied and pasted the FAQs from January into the February FAQ summary, so I apologize for that. So again, that will be updated here as soon as Kasha can get that posted. She'll usually have that done within the next day, so may even be later today, depending on how her schedule looks. Also, the data collection form update, I do have that updated document to be posted. Again, I had a very bad week last week, it seems. When I sent those over, I had messed up some formatting when I updated the DCF, so I have that all corrected and getting ready to go over to Kasha for an updated DCF that we posted. And just a reminder that the only thing that is changing on the revised DCF is we are removing the reference to diaphragmatic hernia in sequence 1560. So again, no major changes. We are just simply removing that reference to diaphragmatic hernia in sequence 1560. Still no additional updates for the fall 2021 harvest analysis. I know I've gotten several emails from you all asking for an update. The risk adjusted report, again, will be available in the coming weeks, and that is the report does have the new pulmonary resection composite implemented. IQVIA will be providing us an update at the end of this week of a timeline of when that report will be available. So as soon as I have all that information for you, I will share that along to you all. So again, once I get the update from IQVIA, I will share that updated information with you all ASAP. One other additional update that I wanted to make you all aware of, I'm not sure that everyone is aware, but we do have a new general thoracic task force chair. So our new task force chair is Dr. Chris Cedar out of Rush University Medical Center, and he is assuming that role from Dr. Benjamin Kozauer. Dr. Kozauer was our GTSD task force chair for many, many years, but he has assumed another lead. I think he's a new workforce chair within the STS. So he has taken on another role within STS, and Dr. Cedar has been appointed the new GTSD task force chair, and that was effective January 1. So we're super excited to have Dr. Cedar as our new task force chair. He has a lot of great new ideas and working with the task force to implement some new and exciting things. So we really are looking forward to working with Dr. Cedar as the new task force chair. STS updates continued. Again, just the current harvest schedule. The spring 22 harvest is scheduled to close March 4, and our fall 22 harvest is currently scheduled to close September the 9th. Opt-out dates are March 8th and September 13th, respectively. And again, the spring 22 harvest is currently underway, so obviously we do encourage you to submit that data early and often. And if you have any questions, please just reach out to us directly. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Ruth so she can provide us our FAQ updates. Ruth? Are you there, Ruth?
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
My computer's slow today. It's not wanting to unmute. So the February FAQ summary, there were just a couple for sequence 790 history of substance abuse. The training manual now officially says to capture substance dependency and alcohol abuse for patients currently within 30 days prior to admission, meeting the definition of dependency and abuse. So it follows the same pattern as tobacco. That includes the December 2021 clarification. The December 2021 clarification indicates that patients who are in a methadone or Suboxone treatment plan would be counted as, would be coded as having substance dependency. So they would have to be in one of those programs within 30 days prior to the admission to be counted. Sequence 830, dementia, neurocognitive dysfunction, code yes for patients with developmental delays that impair cognitive ability. And then sequence 4240, discharge status, patients that leave the hospital AMA, please code discharge alive, and then either last known status alive, other than hospice, or died after discharge as is appropriate based on their status at 30 days. And then I think, next slide.
Oh, sorry, that's my fault.
Nope, you're okay. So the core group is meeting on the 11th, so 2 days from now. We have a huge list of questions to review this time around, 20 questions. I know that everybody is very anxious for responses given the upcoming harvest date. I will send out responses on February the 12th. We did add some new members to the core group, and I'll let Leanne introduce that group to you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let everyone know, yes, as we stated, we have added some new members to the core group, so we are super excited to have Dr. Betty Tong and Dr. Henning Gassert to join us as our surgeon leaders on those calls. So we'll have 3 surgeons. We'll have Dr. Cedar, Dr. Tong, and Dr. Gassert on those calls with us. And we've also added 3 new data managers. So just want to give a brief shout out to Rachel Logan, Erin McCabe, and Whitney Weimer for thank you and welcome to the core group. We are excited to have them join, and we'll get started on Friday, as Ruth said. I think Ruth, are you having computer issues, Ruth? Excuse me.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute again.
No, you're fine.
This is a question that someone submitted, and actually Melanie put together this fantastic response from IQVIA. So the STS has implemented a validation check on ECOG since it's included in the analysis or risk model covariates for cases that are answered as yes to any of the following operative categories. Just because it's included in the analysis does not mean that it is currently required. It is, per the training manual, acceptable to leave it blank. If you leave it blank, however, you will get a warning message, and direct data user entry users will see that warning message, and then you can complete that warning essentially, so you don't get the same warnings over and over again, because it's acceptable to leave the ECOG score as blank for this version.
All right, thank you, Ruth. Next, we're going to turn things over to Joe for our IQVIA updates. Joe.
Great, thank you, Leanne. Good afternoon, everybody. We do have a few items to discuss today, so let me get to it. Everything on today's update will be released on February 26th. That's the target date at the end of the month. So starting with some updates with the uploader and the data quality report, STS 7617. We did receive some reports that the missing variable report is, in some instances, identifying bleeding requiring reoperation variable as missing, even when values for it were included in the submitted DAT file. So the uploader code will be updated to resolve that issue. STS 7504, critical validation checks have been added for non-analyzed cases where the following fields are identified as missing: participant ID, record ID, patient ID, data version, and demographics data version. So all records that are accepted into the database should include data for these variables, and that includes non-analyzed cases as well. And then STS 6935, we are seeing errors on the DQR for the mort date variable for cases where the demographics form is prior to when the mort date variable was added. So that's any demographics form version prior to version 2.3. So the report logic will be updated and that issue will be resolved. All right, an update to the case form STS 7238. There is a change to the parent-child relationship for the mortality date variable. We are removing that relationship. The reason being, in version 5.21.1 data specifications, the field mortality date is located on the demographics table, but the parent field, hospital discharge status, which is MTDC stat, is located on the operations table. If a patient has more than one operation, there could be conflicting parent values for the child field. And so in order to correct that, the parent will be removed from the mortality date field, making the field available to the user for data entry. All right, and then some updates coming to the missing variable report, STS 7348. The MVR report logic will be updated to flag the MT30 stat variable as missing if the unknown status is selected. And STS 7302, a difference was identified in the denominator count when compared to the participant dashboard. So the report filter logic will be corrected to resolve that issue. For the harvest summary report, STS 7734, missing values for the tax identification number variable are triggering errors and warnings for direct data entry sites on the harvest summary report. So we will be making some updates to the report logic to correct that. And then finally, on the participant dashboard 7686, the race documented variable sequence 200 is missing on the case form, but not displaying is missing on the participant dashboard report. So we will be making sure that that gets flagged correctly in the next update as well. And I think that covers it. Just the usual reminders. If you did have a ticket that you want an update on, please feel free to reach out. And we will be working to get additional information out to you as soon as possible. And that's it for me.
Thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. And as always, if you have any report-related questions, please reach out to tech support, GTSD tech support at IQVIA.com. And as always, STS and DCR will be looped in as needed when those tickets are escalated to Tier 2. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Here is my contact information. If you have questions regarding access to the platform, questions regarding your participation agreements, questions regarding contacts currently listed for your site, please reach out to us at stsdb@sts.org. Also, if you're interested in information regarding direct data entry for the IQVIA platform, again, reach out to the team at stsdb@sts.org, and Addie and team will be happy to assist you with any of those questions. Mark your calendars, our upcoming webinars, our next couple of user group calls. We have our next user group call on February the 23rd at 2:30 Central, followed by our March user group call on March 23rd at 2:30 Central. And then our next monthly webinars are scheduled for March 9th and April 13th. So those will be, our monthly webinars will be at 1:30 Central Time. So again, February 23rd, March 23rd for user group, and March 9 and April 13 for our next monthly webinars. That's all that I have today from the STS and IQVIA sides. If you have any questions, please feel free to submit those via the Q&A. We'll get to those and answer those as needed. I currently don't see any questions in the Q&A, so this may be a super short call from the for today. Carol or Emily, Joe, anyone, have I forgotten or anything you all would like to add if we wait and see if there are any additional questions that have come in? But so far, I'm not seeing anything.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything, Leanne. I think this went really well. No, I can't believe we don't have any questions. The only thing I would bring up is that we talked about with the surgeon leadership, we talked about the next upgrade, which is due in 2024. Typically, we do upgrades every 3 years on the database. The last one that went live was in 2021. So we would, excuse me, so we would be set to have our next upgrade go live in 2024, which doesn't seem that far away, but actually we would start that process now for the upgrade. And there was a decision at this time to hold off on that upgrade because they felt that the version 5.21 was a fairly successful and no need to make changes at this time. So that's something that, yeah, that's something that was talked about.
That's good news.
That is good news. Give a little break and help us get really good at collecting on this version. So that's great. But I think that's all that I had.
All right, we do have a question, Megan. Let's see, we're new to thoracic. Our vendor software hasn't worked fully in more than 4 weeks. Has anyone else had issues with entering data? I'm getting worried about the deadline, especially since we don't have, I have not, Megan, I haven't had anyone reach out to me regarding their software not working. So if you would like to contact me directly with your concerns, I haven't had any emails from any other participants indicating their software not currently working. So you haven't been able to enter any data for more than 4 weeks. So
we also reached out to IQVIA on Megan's. I think Megan, you had sent an email on the 8th. We reached out to IQVIA to check, and they too have not heard anything about any sites having issues with the software that you're using, and our contracts, our contract senior manager, Derek, he had not heard anything either. So you probably want to reach out to your vendor and figure out what's going on and see how they can help you. Sorry that we haven't heard anything. Well, I guess it's good for everybody else, but we don't have much information to help you out with there.
yeah. Ruth, I see a few questions coming in. I'm sure you would want to these to be, I don't know if you're comfortable answering any of these, or if you would rather them please be submitted via the FAQs.
Yeah, it's probably better to submit
Yeah.
them to the FAQs.
Yep.
So we can write back and forth if I need more information. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, so Lisa and AH, I'm not sure who AH is, but if you could submit those via the FAQs, and then Ruth could get those on the list and we could review those with the surgeons, that would be great. Super helpful. Sorry we can't get those answered for you right here on the line, but we will definitely get those added and discuss those with the surgeons. All right. Okay. Thank you for that update, Carol. I appreciate that. All right. I'm not seeing anything in addition, so this may be a super short call today. I give you a question. Okay, Joe, team, here's a question for you from Beth Peters. If the uploader is just spinning and stuck in the check mapping for hours, how do you stop it?
Oh, Liz, this is Melanie with IQVIA. Liz, have you already reported that? It should not be stuck at the mapping. So there may be an issue where it is hung and it definitely shouldn't be there for hours. So please contact our support team so we can, okay, thank you. We can get you squared away.
And I know Ruth is working. Nancy had a question about the physician forms. I know Ruth is working on those. So those are coming very, very soon. So Ruth is working very hard, Nancy. And once she gets those completed, we will get those posted ASAP. I don't know if Ruth had an update to provide. I know she is working on them though.
Linda asked the same question. I'll have them done this weekend and get them to you on Monday. So as soon as Kasha posts them, they'll be up hopefully by the end of the week next week.
Okay. Ruth, would you like to tackle the question from Anita, or would you need more information, FAQ, prefer it go via that way? 43.
The Hang on, I have to grab the codes. 1 second.
Yeah, no. And then I'll,
answer.
yeah, I'm gonna, let's see, what is from Dia, what is the least number of procedures submitted in order to be analyzed? Kind of like an adult cardiac, is there a required amount? So the only thresholds that we have for in order, like for the lobectomy composite, you have to have at least 30 eligible procedures, and that's for lobectomy and the pulmonary resection composite. For the esophageal composite, it's 15. So that those are the numbers for I think that's what you were asking, Dia. So it's 30 for lobectomy to be eligible for the lobectomy composite, 30 for pulmonary resection, and 15 for esophageal or esophagectomy composite. If a procedure needs a 1-year follow-up, how is that submitted since the original procedure date will be past the harvest deadline for hernia cases, for example? So, I know for example, the 1-year follow-up, that's not going to impact your analysis at any point too. So that would not be an issue for the 1 year in terms of that case being eligible. Who has harvest deadline? Okay, hold on.
Essentially, you submit your initial data set without it. It'll appear as like with a warning that it's missing or whatever, and you just sort of skip past it, and then a year later you'll add it in.
Yeah, it doesn't impact the analysis if you don't have it. That's, so it's not going to like kick that case out for analysis if you don't have it. Not 30 per year. It's 30 for the an analytic period. So it's 30 over that 3-year analytic period. It's not each individual year. Okay, Sue, you're welcome, Dia. And I know Ruth was looking up those codes.
Yeah, so I agree with Mary. So 43280 is just the fundoplication. So if your surgeon does only a Nissen or a two-pay fundoplication, 43281 is the fundoplication with a paraesophageal hernia repair. So it'll say like diaphragmatic hernia repair is your primary procedure, and then like the Nissen will generally be listed as a second procedure. You don't code the fundoplication separately from 43281. It's included with 43281. And if that doesn't make sense, please just send me an email and I'm happy to look at cases with you.
Hi, Maggie. What's the difference between the lobectomy and pulmonary resection populations? So I don't have that handy. So the lobectomy population is currently, obviously that's laid out in the current overview. I am working to update the analysis overview for the pulmonary, to add the pulmonary resection composite information. So that information will be in the overview. We did have a webinar back in November that was that we presented information on the pulmonary resection composite being implemented.
I think what's added, the lobectomy, this is Carol, I think the lobectomy model is just for lobectomies. The pulmonary resection model includes things like wedges in addition to lobectomies. So it's a more inclusive model for primary cancer.
Right.
Lung procedures.
And there was, let's see here, sorry, I was looking for, we had a, there was a webinar that is strictly about the pulmonary resection composite. It's the STS composite measure series videos. Let's see here. So hold on. If you would like to learn more, so let me pull this over. If you would like to review. So if you, here we go, let me go. So if you go to STS National Database, and you scroll down to STS Composite Measure Series videos if you would like, and click on Learn More. So here is the presentation on the composite that the TQI team has put together for us. So if you scroll down, here's a general, if you would like to learn more, the pulmonary section for general thoracic surgery. So you can click on this and gives an excellent overview of the composite, and you can learn more about what's included and how it's going to be presented in the report. So that information that is out there if you would like to review that. 9E, let's see, that's there. Okay, we have some questions. Let me scroll back up to the top. Hold on. Let's see, where's this doing this? Some patients still need to be primary. So all the patients still need to be primary lung cancer resections. Yes. Let's see. The lung, so from the, Maggie, you're welcome. The lung procedures did not require follow-up after 30 days. Correct. Yes, the lung is 30 days. And then we have a question from Mindy Ruth.
I don't remember this one off the top of my head. Katie,
Yeah.
do you remember?
Katie,
Yeah,
do
you only count it 30 days out from procedure. So if they're readmitted, and you can count the events that happen up until 30 days, and then after that you stop.
But if the index admission is longer than 30 days, you would count all of it, correct?
Yeah, that's just for the readmission.
Just for the readmission. Yep.
All right. We got a quick flurry of questions that came in. All right, I'm not seeing any additional questions. If you all have questions afterwards, please feel free to submit those via the FAQ if they're clinical in nature. If you have questions that you think of afterwards that are not clinical in nature, please feel free to send those to me directly and we can get some answers for you. All right, I'm not seeing anything else come in. So thanks to everyone for joining today. Carol, Ruth, Addie, Emily, IQVIA team, Katie, and Ruth, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys joining today.
Thank you.
All right. I hope
Bye.
everybody has a great rest of the week, and we'll catch you guys next time on our next call. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Lynn. Bye,
Thanks
everybody.
everyone. We'll see you on the 23rd. Thanks guys.